Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we will learn about a World War II veteran who wants to travel to the grave of the man who saved his life during battle. First, though, we do check news for you. For the first time in 6 months, Quincy is in the green category on the state's coronavirus risk assessment map. As of yesterday, the city flipped from yellow to green with only one new confirmed case of the virus and 51 active cases. Quincy's positivity rate is down to 1.32%, and there have been 153 deaths. There have been over 8,800 cases of the virus in Quincy since the outbreak of the pandemic. The Quincy City Council continues to debate a proposal to create a new home for Quincy College. The Finance Committee last night continued reviewing the administration's proposal to borrow $23 million to buy the Monroe Building and begin designing a new home for Quincy College and for city offices. At-large Councilor Noel DeBona echoed the sentiments of some councilors who are worried about the overall cost of the project, estimated to be at least $100 million.
But it doesn't matter. It's up to the voters that make the decision on that. And I am leaning towards that decision. Like, hey, listen, you know what? Put it in the hands of them, and let everybody have a voice on that. You know, so I don't know. It's something to consider. I don't know where my colleagues are on this vote. I know that that I don't know where I am, and I don't know where more things that can happen up until Monday. But I'm just thinking a little bit outside the box. So, with that, Mr. Chairman, I've listened to everybody tonight. I'm trying to make solutions. Trying to have a solution to the madness. Trying to make suggestions, whether we act on it or whether what transpires is up to us. But as a body, you know, I see it from all different angles here tonight, and I just don't have enough information yet to make a decision on this. And hopefully, I can get some answers and talk to some more residents about where they are on this.
Now, an effort to remove the college part of the proposal and simply buy the Monroe Building failed, as did a motion to take a vote on the plan as written. The plan will be discussed again Monday night at 6 p.m. Quincy College is offering financial assistance to people who lost their jobs due to the pandemic, using over $430,000 in federal grant money. Those funds from the Community Development Block Grant Program are part of the Federal CARES Act and were awarded by the city to allow the school to provide low-cost credit and non-credit classes to individuals who want to retrain for a new career. College President Rick DeCristofaro recently joined officials with the Quincy Housing Authority to let tenants know about the class offerings, and 48 Housing Authority residents did sign up for those classes. The college says they're still taking applications. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch says the Boston Public Library has refused to return the collection of President John Adams' books to the city.
They are not going to release these too easily. So we'll continue the dialogue. We'll begin a dialogue, and that was one of the things the letter indicated from the director, was that we should have open a dialogue to discuss the future, and that to me was positive. But clearly they do not want to give up stewardship of this collection, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, I think it's pretty clear what John Adams' wishes were. So we'll see what happens. You know, I didn't think they would just roll over and turn them over to us, quite frankly. I expected there'd be some kind of a disagreement here and some kind of a battle. Whether it ends up in court is another question. But we'll see what happens. We'll keep at it.
The mayor says the library is unwilling to turn over the collection of some 3,000 volumes. However, he remains hopeful that an agreement can be reached. Koch wants to create a presidential library, either at the Adams Academy building or 2 adjacent vacant properties that he plans to purchase using community preservation funds. The mayor says President Adams left explicit instructions that his collection belonged to the people of Quincy. Proposal for a new 16-story, 240-unit apartment complex in North Quincy is a step closer to final approval. The zoning board this week okayed the plans from developer Tremont Quincy LLC to put up the new building on Hancock Street. Architect Brian O'Connor said the goal is to make the building an attractive gateway to the north end of Quincy.
Few images with you guys. This is a rendering of the front corner of the building. At the intersection of Newbury and Hancock, you can see that double height sort of glass entry frontage Nick had talked about. The access to the parking garage is off the view a little bit behind the other building down Newbury. We've got glass and activation running down the edge of Hancock. We've sort of left out some of the landscaping, but we do anticipate running street trees down that edge. We're really excited about the building. The idea here is really to treat this as a gateway into the city and think about how we can start to combine some very traditional Quincy materials, the red brick and the masonry on the front edge of the building with some really sort of more modern materials towards the back. So we really want this gateway building to not only reflect and bring forward some of the language of downtown Quincy, but also to be a very overtly modern building that really welcomes sort of where the city is going.
Now, there'll be 204 parking spaces in the first 4 floors of the building, and vehicle access will be from Newbury Street. The site is currently home to a Domino's Pizza shop, Burt's Electrical Supply, and a vacant home. The proposal still needs planning board approval. Interfaith Social Services of Quincy says they raised a record-breaking $77,000 during their 47th annual Stop the Stigma 5K road race recently. The event was held virtually for the second year in a row due to the pandemic, but Interfaith says over 400 people participated and raised enough money to provide over 2,500 mental health counseling sessions at their New Directions Counseling Center. Participants were encouraged to share photos of their virtual races and also participate in contests for best outfit, best background, coolest landmark, fastest times, and more. Interfaith's executive director Rick Doan says they've seen a tremendous increase in the need for mental health services as a result of the pandemic. Quincy police say they have shut down a pretty major drug operation that was based out of a condo in Quincy Point. Officers executed a search warrant at 200 Cove Way, seized a large quantity of oxycodone, cocaine, and other drugs, along with 3 guns, ammunition, and $36,000 in cash. Facing drug and firearms violations are 28-year-old Abubakar Mohammed and 28-year-old Abdullah Jama. Officers say they found drugs in the apartment and in the suspect's vehicle. Coming up, World War II Army veteran Anthony Grasso talks about his plan to thank the man who saved his life in battle. That's next.
The COVID vaccine is a critical tool to protect yourself and end the pandemic.
But you might have questions about its safety.
The same safety measures used for all vaccines were used for the COVID vaccine.
Tens of thousands participated in vaccine trials to prove it's safe.
Since then, millions of people of all races and ethnicities have gotten the vaccine and experienced only mild side effects.
I got the vaccine to protect myself, my family, and my patients.
When it's your turn, trust the facts. Get the vax.
Hi, we're the Quincy Fire Department, and keeping everyone safe in Quincy is our top priority. And that's why we're teaming up with the American Red Cross to help sound the alarm about home fire safety.
Did you know that in a home fire you have just 2 minutes to safely escape? That's important to remember because home fires claim 7 lives every day across our country.
You can help change that. Please join the Quincy Fire Department and the American Red Cross in ending home fire tragedies by taking 2 simple steps.
Step 1, practice your 2-minute escape drill.
Step 2, test your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms monthly.
You can find more fire safety information by visiting soundthealarm.org and pledge to prepare your family against home fires.
Quincy residents can call 1-800-564-1234 to receive free smoke and carbon monoxide alarms that will be installed by Quincy firefighters starting this month.
Thank you for joining the Quincy Fire Department and the American Red Cross in this life-saving mission to keep Quincy safe.
I hear someone go, "Didn't it come from you guys?"
Strangers cough at me.
Move away from me.
Someone spit towards my direction. All the stereotypes that we've worked so hard to break are just going to be reversed. And I won't let that happen.
We all have to play our part.
I donate my plasma.
I've been making masks.
We deserve respect as much as everybody else.
I'm a firefighter, not a virus.
I'm a mask maker, not a virus.
I'm a nurse.
I'm a delivery woman, chef, a neighbor, artist.
Bus driver.
I'm a doctor.
Fight the virus. Fight the virus.
Pleased to welcome to the program today World War II Army veteran Anthony Grasso to chat a little bit about his mission to pay a final respect to the man who saved his life during the war. So, Mr. Grasso, appreciate your time. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about the story of the Battle of Hurtgen Forest and how Mr. DuBose helped to save you that day?
The Hurtgen Forest was the worst place anybody could be because the enemies had the advantage of firing guns above the trees, and the limbs would come down and kill a lot of people, a lot of soldiers. You either had to dig a foxhole or cover yourself somewhere or another, but it was hard. You couldn't have nothing but K rations, and it was the worst place on earth as far as I'm concerned. And one day, I was assigned to this lieutenant to be his telephone operator, carry the battery on my back. And we got a call that they spotted some enemy, and so we were sent out in the field to start artillery fire. And the next thing I know, we got hit, and that was the end of it. I don't know, but I think he got hit directly, I'm not sure. But I remember flying through the air, and the next thing I know, I woke up in Paris in the hospital. And the way my back was to him, and I always thought that he saved my life, and I always wanted to respect him and find his grave and pay my respects to him. I finally found it, and I still at my age, I want to go and thank him where I am today.
Had you known Frank very long before that time?
No, because the replacements are fast. You lose one today, you get another one tomorrow. About 5 months. That's considered a long time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a situation where we were.
Sure. What have you been in touch with his family at all, Mr. Grasso?
No. You know, you never ask questions about the soldiers' family.
What would you like his family to know about him?
He was a perfect gentleman. Always the best you could find as far as I'm concerned. And I had to stay with him like glue because you never know when you're going to get a call if they spot some enemy.
What will you say to his family about that day? What would you say to them?
I won't go into that.
With his family.
I won't go into that.
Okay. You won't divulge.
It's sad.
It was
As far as I'm concerned, it's a private matter. If the family is at this place where we go to his grave, I would gladly talk to them, but I would never tell how it happened because I don't think it's fair for the family to know. It's too graphic.
Mr. Grasso, why are you deciding to do this now?
Because I can never find anybody that knew where he was buried. And when Joe wrote the book, it was evidently got out of hand, and Uncle Sam, that they call him, started all this movement and made all the arrangements to go over and visit the grave. put my hand on it, and thank God that I'm alive because of you.
Are the
That's
is
all I
the
want to do.
yeah is the Veteran Services Agency helping you with this trip?
No, no, no. It's all private. I didn't want this to get out of hand, and I didn't want all this publicity, because to me it was more of a private thing than anything, but I have no control over that. If I make it, that's the best thing in my life.
How long will you stay?
It's an overnight thing, that's all. No big deal.
What does your family think about this, Mr. Grasso?
Well, in a way, they respect my wishes, and they're all going down with me. And my oldest daughter lives in South Carolina. And I had my basic friends down there in Camp Croft, South Carolina.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you did after the war?
I went back to school to get. I got drafted out of when I finished my sophomore year.
In high school.
And when I get home from my father said, "Here's a letter from the U.S. Army. Report to Chevrolet Building on Commonwealth Avenue for an official." The next thing I know, I'm on my way to Camp Devens. And I had two older brothers that were already in the service. So, and that's one thing led to another. I went back to school, Newton Trade School, to get a diploma, and I was going to be an electrician, but it didn't work out, and I ended up working for a milk outfit, and I stayed there 47 years. The Seals has milk,
yep,
and ended up in the ice cream plant.
Okay.
That's it. I stayed there 47 years. I built the Sullivan Stadium and worked there the first night the game. It was a heyday, I'll tell you. But it was well worth it. The Sullivan was the owner at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that your story, Mr. Grasso, will inspire other veterans like yourself?
I hope they do, because when you're assigned with a special person, you're with him for a while. But if you're in the infantry, you never know who's next to you. 1 minute is gone the next. This makes it more like a family affair. So anybody that did what I did, if they can do what I'm doing, and they survive one or the other, they can go and pay their respects. But I waited so long to find out where he was buried, because I would have done this the minute I found out. But at my age, I still want to do it. That's my goal. And hopefully I can end up doing that.
Yeah, I know you've raised about half of the money that you need so far.
Not for me.
Not for you.
No. Not for me.
Did you were you awarded the Purple Heart, Mr. Grasso?
Yes.
And do you know, was Mr. DuBose posthumously awarded also?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like folks to know about your service or about that time?
I wish they would respect every soldier in the service during World War II, because it was live or die. The Pacific had it worse than what we did, because they had to jump from one island to another. We were on solid ground all the time. But I'm going to give you a little funny story. When you bought a Cracker Jack box in my day, they had a little thing in there that you snap. And when we hit Normandy, the hedgerows you had one of those, and if you snapped once, and you got an answer was done, you knew there was nobody on the other side. But if you didn't get it, you know the enemy was on the other side.
I had never heard that story before.
Yeah. And the first night we landed, they had an air raid, and I jumped into a truck. When it was over, the guy said, "You know where the hell you were?" I said, "Well, I was in a truck." He said, "That was loaded with ammunition." That's what. Who's going to think this is a truck when this happens?
So is this, would you say this is the most you've talked about your experience to date?
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. Africa, Sicily, Anzio.
Yeah.
And my other brother was with Patton. They liberated the Belgians, helped the Battle of the Bulge, and they ran into a concentration camp in Austria.
And they liberated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like young people to know about World War II veterans today?
You know, I don't have an answer for that. The way the country is today, World War II, as far as the people of today, is long gone in history. You never hear anything about it. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel.
Well, we appreciate your service. I want to thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
And I wish you the best on your trip. I hope it's successful, and I hope you get some closure.
Okay. Thank you for the interview.
You're very welcome. All right, be well. Special thank you to Anthony Grasso for joining us today. Thank you to our crew, and thank you for watching. Monday, we'll learn about Mannett Community Health Center's June Bloom fundraiser. And a reminder to visit our website at qatv.org. You'll find our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay safe